Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to tell you could change your life forever. Many people go to bed exhausted, frustrated, and full of anxiety. They carry the weight of their problems into their sleep, only to wake up feeling just as drained as they were the night before. But what if I told you that 20 minutes with God before you sleep could bring you peace, clarity, and strength like never before? This is not just another habit, it is a divine strategy to transform your nights and empower your days. This March, every night before you close your eyes, take time to enter the presence of God. Why? Because your life depends on it. Think about it. What if the reason you feel stuck, weak, and distant from God is because you're neglecting the most crucial moment of the day, your time with Him before you sleep? Tonight and every night this month, I challenge you. No, I plead with you. Spend 20 minutes with God. Not out of routine, but out of desperation for a breakthrough. Speak to Him, listen to Him, pour out your heart, and watch as He begins to move in your life. Because when you give God your nights, He will take care of your mornings. Stay with me, and I'll show you how to enter a new level of intimacy with God that will change everything. Your last thoughts before you sleep are not just random reflections. They are seeds planted in the soil of your mind, shaping the landscape of your tomorrow. What you meditate on before you close your eyes has the power to set the tone for your next day, your next week, and ultimately your life. If your final moments are filled with worry, regret, and distractions, you are carrying those burdens into your sleep, and they will meet you again in the morning. But if you take time to sit with God, to dwell in His presence, and to let His word wash over your soul, you will experience a peace that the world cannot give. Every night is an opportunity to reset your mind, to lay your struggles before the Lord, and to receive fresh strength for the journey ahead. This is why spending 20 minutes with God before you sleep is not just a habit, it is a lifeline. It is an invitation to experience the fullness of His love and the clarity of His guidance. When you take those sacred moments to reflect on His promises, to confess your shortcomings, and to listen for His voice, you are allowing Him to prepare you for what lies ahead. God speaks in the stillness, and the night is His canvas. When all the noise of the world fades, He whispers truths into your heart. He reminds you that you are not alone. He calls you to trust Him, to lean on Him, and to release everything into His hands. Those 20 minutes before you sleep are a doorway into divine peace, a moment where heaven meets earth in the quiet of your room. And if you commit to this time, you will wake up with a strength and confidence that only comes from being in His presence. Every night, heaven waits for your presence. Imagine this: the creator of the universe, the one who formed the stars and breathed life into you, is waiting to meet with you before you sleep. While the world winds down, while distractions fade, God remains present, ready to speak, to listen, and to pour out His wisdom into your heart. But too often we rush to bed, scrolling through our phones, occupied with worries, or simply too tired to acknowledge the most important presence in our lives. What if you knew that God had something to say to you every night? Would you make time to listen? Would you set aside everything else for just 20 minutes to commune with Him? This March, make it your commitment. Show up. Make this a sacred appointment that nothing can interrupt. Because the truth is, when you seek Him, He reveals Himself to you. When you draw near, He draws near. And when you honor His presence at night, He will guide your steps in the morning. Every night is an invitation from heaven. Will you accept it? Accept it. The world fills your mind with anxiety, stress, and uncertainty, but God offers you a peace that surpasses all understanding. As you lie in bed at night, your thoughts begin to race. Unfinished tasks, regrets from the day, fears about tomorrow. This is when the enemy attacks the hardest, whispering doubts, stirring worries, and making you feel restless. But God has a different plan for your nights. When you take just 20 minutes before you sleep to sit in His presence, to meditate on His word, and to surrender your cares, something miraculous happens. Peace enters your heart. Not the temporary relief that the world offers, not the distraction of entertainment or exhaustion forcing you to sleep, but a deep, abiding peace that settles your soul. It's the peace that comes from knowing you are in God's hands, that He is in control, and that nothing can shake His promises over your life. Instead of closing your eyes burdened with fear, imagine resting in the assurance that God is working all things for your good. Instead of worrying about what's next, imagine falling asleep with confidence that heaven is watching over you. This peace is not just a feeling, it is a gift from God. But you must make room for it. Will you take the time to receive it before you sleep tonight? The burdens of life are heavy, and without realizing it, we carry them with us into the night. Every unresolved problem, every harsh word spoken to us, every failure or mistake, these things cling to our hearts like weights, pulling us down into exhaustion. Many people lie in bed at night, replaying the same worries over and over, tossing and turning under the pressure of their responsibilities, their regrets, and their fears. But listen to me, you were never meant to carry these burdens alone. God is calling you to lay them down before you sleep. He never intended for you to bear the weight of the world on your shoulders. That is why He invites you, saying, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This rest is not just physical sleep. It is a supernatural release from everything that is troubling you. But you must make the decision to bring your burdens to Him. What happens when you don't? You wake up just as tired as when you lay down. You enter a new day already drained by the baggage of yesterday. You start your morning carrying the same stress, the same frustrations, the same anxiety, and then you wonder why life feels so overwhelming, why you can't seem to find clarity or peace. It's because you haven't been leaving your burdens at the feet of Jesus before you sleep. Imagine this. Every night before you sleep, you spend 20 minutes with God. Bring Him everything that's weighing you down. You speak to Him about your struggles, your pain, your mistakes, and you surrender them. You say, "Lord, I give it all to you. I refuse to carry this into tomorrow." And as you pray, as you reflect on His promises, you feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. You go to bed not with stress, but with trust. Not with fear, but with faith. And when you wake up, you rise with renewed strength. Your mind is clear, your spirit is refreshed, and you step into the day knowing that God is in control. You don't have to live exhausted. You don't have to live anxious. You have a choice every night: carry the burdens yourself or place them in God's hands. So I ask you, what will you do tonight? Will you hold on to the weight that is breaking you, or will you lay it before the one who is strong enough to carry it? This March, let every night be a moment of surrender, a time where you release the burdens of the day and rest in the peace that only God can give. Because when you give your burdens to Him, He gives you something far greater in return: His presence, His peace, and His unfailing love. The night is quiet. The noise of the world fades, the distractions slow down, and everything seems still. But this stillness is not empty. It is the perfect moment for God to speak to you. Many people wonder why they can't hear God, why they feel distant from Him, why their prayers seem unanswered. But the truth is, God is always speaking. We are just too busy to listen. During the day, our minds are consumed with responsibilities, conversations, and endless distractions. We are surrounded by voices, the demands of work, the pressures of life, the opinions of others. But when the night comes, when everything settles, there is a divine opportunity to hear the voice that matters most. God whispers in the stillness. He speaks when your heart is quiet. He reveals Himself when you make room for Him. But here is the problem. Many of us don't take advantage of this moment. Instead of embracing the stillness and seeking His voice, we fill it with noise. We scroll through our phones, watch meaningless entertainment, or fall asleep consumed by worry. We rush to bed exhausted, missing the most important conversation of the day, the one with our Creator. What if before you sleep you took just 20 minutes to sit in God's presence? What if you made it a habit to quiet your mind, open your heart, and listen? You would begin to hear things you never noticed before. You would receive clarity where there was once confusion. You would feel peace where there was once anxiety. Because when you give God your attention, He gives you His wisdom. Think about the great men and women of faith. Do you think they heard from God because they were lucky? No, they heard Him because they made time for Him. They set aside moments in their day, especially at night, to seek His presence and listen for His voice. And because they listened, they walked in power, in purpose, and in divine direction. You need direction for your life. You need wisdom for the decisions ahead. You need clarity for the battles you are facing. And the answers you are looking for won't be found in the noise of the world. They will be found in the quiet presence of God. Tonight, before you sleep, take 20 minutes to be still, open your heart, ask God to speak, and then listen. Because the greatest revelations come in the moments of silence, when your heart is fully surrendered to Him. Every night there is a battle for your mind. As you prepare to sleep, two forces are at work. One trying to fill your thoughts with fear, doubt, and regret, and the other calling you into peace, trust, and faith. The question is, which voice will you listen to before you close your eyes? The enemy knows that nighttime is when your defenses are down. It's when you replay your failures, dwell on your problems, and feel the weight of your struggles the heaviest. Have you ever noticed how worries seem louder at night? How regrets from the past and fears about the future creep in just as you're trying to rest? That's not by accident. The enemy attacks when you're most vulnerable. But here's the good news. God has given you a weapon to fight back. His presence is your protection. His word is your shield, and His promises are your defense. Spending just 20 minutes with God before you sleep is not just a routine. It is a battle strategy. It is how you guard your mind against the lies of the enemy and fill it with the truth of God. Imagine going to bed with the full assurance that you are loved, forgiven, and guided by the hand of the Almighty. Imagine closing your eyes knowing that no weapon formed against you will prosper, that God is fighting for you, and that you are under His divine protection. When you fill your heart with these truths before you sleep, fear loses its power, worry is silenced, peace takes over. But you must be intentional. You can't expect victory if you don't prepare for battle. You can't expect peace if you're constantly feeding your mind with the things of the world. What you consume before bed will shape your spirit. If you fill your mind with negativity, you will wake up drained. But if you fill it with God's word, you will wake up renewed. This March, make a commitment. Before you sleep, give those 20 minutes to God. Talk to Him, read His word, declare His promises over your life. And as you do, watch how your nights transform from battles of worry into moments of divine rest. Because when you sleep in His presence, you wake up in His power. Nighttime is a sacred moment, a transition between what has been and what is to come. But for many, it is also a time of deep struggle, a time when the weight of life feels unbearable. You lay down exhausted from the day, but your mind refuses to rest. Thoughts race, regrets whisper, and fears grow louder in the silence. You stare at the ceiling, wondering why peace feels so far away. But listen carefully. God is waiting for you in the quiet. He is not distant. He is not absent. He is near, ready to speak, ready to comfort, ready to renew your strength. The problem is not that God is silent. It's that we don't give Him the time to speak. We let the noise of the world follow us into the night. We scroll endlessly on our phones, filling our minds with distractions. We replay painful moments, letting them steal our rest. We hold on to stress and disappointment as if we have to solve everything on our own. And then we wonder why we wake up feeling just as weary as when we lay down. But it doesn't have to be this way. Imagine if, before you sleep, you made a different choice. Instead of carrying your burdens alone, you placed them in the hands of God. Instead of filling your mind with distractions, you filled it with His promises. Instead of letting fear control you, you surrendered in faith. Just 20 minutes in the presence of God before you sleep can change the entire course of your night and your life. Look at the examples of those who walk closely with God. The secret to their strength was not found in their own ability, but in their time with Him. David, a man after God's own heart, wrote many of his psalms at night, pouring out his soul to the Lord. Daniel, even when threatened with death, never abandoned his time in prayer, and God protected him in the lion's den. Jesus Himself, after ministering to thousands, would withdraw to be alone with the Father, even in the late hours of the night. If they needed this time with God, how much more do we? When you give your last moments of the day to God, you do more than just pray. You align yourself with His will, His peace, and His protection. You remind your soul that no matter what happened today, God is still in control. You declare that no matter what tomorrow brings, you will not face it alone. This March, I challenge you. Don't let another night pass by without spending time with God. Set aside just 20 minutes before you sleep. Open your heart, speak to Him, and let Him speak to you. Release your worries, lay down your burdens, and allow His peace to cover you like a blanket. And as you close your eyes, know this: you are held by the one who never sleeps, the one who watches over you, and the one who will carry you into a brand new day filled with His grace and power. There is a reason why God designed the night to be a time of rest. He knew that our bodies would grow weary, our minds would become exhausted, and our souls would long for renewal. But true rest is not just about closing your eyes and sleeping. It is about finding peace in the presence of God. Many people sleep, but few truly rest. Their bodies may lie down, but their spirits remain restless. Their minds wander through the regrets of the past and the uncertainties of the future. They toss and turn, trying to escape the weight of life's pressures, but peace feels out of reach. But there is a greater way. God has offered you a gift, His presence, His peace, and His covering before you sleep. He never intended for you to carry the burdens of the day into the night. He never meant for you to battle anxiety alone. He has given you an invitation. Come to me, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest. Yet so many ignore this call, choosing instead to lie awake in worry rather than rest in faith. The enemy wants you to think that your struggles are yours to bear alone. He wants you to believe that you must figure everything out, that you must solve every problem, that you must control every outcome. But God is saying, be still and know that I am God. Your battles are not won by overthinking. They are won by surrender. Your peace does not come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting the one who holds your future. Spending just 20 minutes with God before you sleep is an act of surrender. It is a declaration that you will not let fear dictate your night. It is a decision to align your heart with His truth before the day ends. When you do this, you will find a peace that cannot be explained. You will go to bed knowing that no matter what happened today, God's grace is sufficient. No matter what tomorrow holds, He has already gone before you. Consider the difference. If you fall asleep with stress, you wake up drained. But if you fall asleep in God's presence, you wake up with strength. If you lay down with fear, you rise with hesitation. But if you lay down in faith, you rise with boldness. What you feed your spirit before you sleep determines the condition of your soul when you wake up. This March, don't let another night pass without experiencing the power of resting in God. Give Him your last 20 minutes before sleep. Pray, worship, read His word, and let His presence surround you. Because when you sleep in the peace of God, you awaken in the power of His purpose. And that will change everything. Every night the world slows down, the noise fades, the distractions lessen, and the rush of the day comes to a halt. It is in this sacred stillness that God speaks the loudest. But the question is, are you listening? For many, nighttime is filled with everything except God. It is spent scrolling through social media, drowning in entertainment, or worrying about what cannot be changed. People fill their minds with the troubles of the world, then wonder why they wake up feeling anxious and drained. But God has designed the night to be more than just an end to your day. It is a divine reset, an opportunity to reconnect with Him before stepping into a new beginning. If you spend just 20 minutes with God before you sleep, your nights will no longer be restless and your mornings will no longer feel heavy. Imagine going to bed with your heart at peace, your mind at rest, and your soul fully surrendered to God's care. That is what happens when you take time to pray, to worship, and to meditate on His word before closing your eyes. Look at the example of Jesus. Even after long days of ministry, He would withdraw to be alone with the Father. If the Son of God needed that time, how much more do we? Yet so many of us run on empty, pushing through life without refueling our souls. We try to handle our burdens alone, and it shows in our stress, in our exhaustion, and in the restless nights that steal our joy. But tonight and every night this March, you have a choice. You can end your day in worry, or you can end it in worship. You can go to sleep feeling lost, or you can go to sleep knowing that the shepherd is watching over you. You can carry your burdens into tomorrow, or you can lay them at the feet of Jesus before you close your eyes. Make this commitment. Before you sleep, give God your last 20 minutes. Speak to Him, listen to Him, and rest in His presence. Because when you do, something powerful will happen. You will wake up stronger, more focused, more at peace, and more aligned with His will. This March, don't let another night pass without spending time with God. Because when you sleep in His presence, you rise in His power, and that will change everything.